And I just thought to myself, they got inside. And so I hide behind my door like this, like I'm here, and the bathroom door starts going like this. Like the bathroom door is behind me, or rather in front of me, and I'm like this, and the door hinges right here. And I just hear, where is she? Where is she? And this was the moment where I thought everything was over.
What is good, YouTube family? It's your boy Rashad with the Black Anomaly Rising Channel. Vivek Ramaswamy, we got to talk about him again. This man has been known for Thanos snapping Nikki Haley out of existence multiple times. Every time she comes back, Vivek just, right? Just gets her out of there. Same for pretty much anybody else, be it Chris, Krispy Kreme, Rhonda Sanctimonious, you name it. Vivek goes in on everybody, but he especially was giving it hard to Nikki Haley because she came at him first about his lack of foreign policy experience in the first debate and basically how he was a rookie and so on and so forth, right? And how you wanted to hand Ukraine over to Russia because he is not a bloodthirsty warmonger. So, any case, there was a CNN town hall. It was a presidential town hall. Vivek Ramaswamy, of course, attended, and he got into it with Abby Phillips, right? So for those who don't know, I think literally the first video I made on this channel had Abby Phillips talking a wee bit of sense, okay? She's got a brain up there for sure, but it just so happens that if you go work for CNN or MSNBC, it just melts slowly over time, or you just become a shill because they pay you a whole lot of money, or a combination of maybe both. I don't know. But she was talking with Vivek about January 6th being an inside job, which he did state in the debate. However, once elaborated upon, he's basically saying that it was entrapment because if y'all have seen some of the videos, including videos that I have on this channel, I'm going to try to have a link to it or somewhere you can click so you can see it for yourself. The government basically, the Capitol Police basically attacked the people to try to get them to leave, even though they weren't actually doing anything.
We're going to have to get a reason. What have we got that we can help and push them? Munitions. Nothing's going to help.
The wind is at us.
Yeah.
I know.
we're
right. The wind's at us. So we get hit them with a lot of pain compliance when you hit innocent people, hitting innocent people, hitting innocent people.
And not only that, we're taking out one and 10 of them are getting angrier. We're multiplying them by hitting them.
We're trying to get through the gate.
USA, 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 USA.
Yep, they're deploying flashbangs on us.
Chucking grenades at us.
If they'd never thrown the concussion grenades, if they'd never used the pepper spray, this wouldn't have happened. It was a peaceful protest. I was standing within 15 feet of the line of officers. They started firing at us before anybody did anything to them. We were not rushing them. There was no advance on them. They just started throwing concussion grenades and pepper spray.
So technically Vivek would be right here again, as he usually is. And Abby tries to like debate him on it. And of course, she doesn't know what the hell she's talking about. So she makes herself look stupid and disingenuous. And I'm all here for it. So let's get into it.
So let me ask you about something that you said at the debate last week. You used the phrase inside job to describe what happened on January 6th. The next day, Capitol rioter Alan Hostetter highlighted your comments at his sentencing. He is going to prison for 11 years. Hostetter threatened members of Congress. He brought a hatchet, knives, pepper spray stun batons, tactical gear to the U.S. Capitol. Are you concerned that a convicted felon like that is now promoting your comments in court?
So here's my concern, Abby, and I want to tell you guys where I'm at. If you had told me, it's close to 3 years ago that January 6, 2021 happened. If you had told me 3 years ago, back when I was a biotech CEO, not steeped in this world, I was just consuming passive media but was focused on my world of developing medicines. If you had told me that January 6 was in any way an inside job, the subject of government entrapment, I would have told you that was crazy talk. Fringe conspiracy theory nonsense. I can tell you now, having gone somewhat deep in this, it's not. I mean, the reality is this. We do have a government, first of all, we have to acknowledge, that has lied to us systematically over the last several years about the origin of COVID-19, about the Hunter Biden laptop that we were told was false by 51 CIA experts and otherwise before we now know that it was true. You can go straight down the list, the Trump-Russia disinformation collusion hoax, all of it. Now we come to January 6th. The reality is we know that there were federal law enforcement agents in that field. We don't know how many. I think it's shameful. And if I may finish just answering
well,
your question, this is really important.
I'm going to go ahead and interrupt you here because
I know this, the establishment doesn't approve of this message. I know
that there were federal agents.
We should be able to talk about this.
You're saying that there were federal agents.
This is important to talk about.
You are saying there were federal agents in the crowd on January 6th.
Yep.
There is no evidence that there were federal agents in the crowd on January 6th.
So why, before Congress, when pressed on what the number was, they didn't say there were none? They just couldn't say how many there were.
So you're saying that that you have not seen any evidence that there were.
We've seen multiple informants suggesting that there were. We know people were FBI informants who were asked to.
Is there any evidence?
May I just finish this, and you can come back and question me?
Well, let me clarify.
It's very uncomfortable for you.
I'm going to clarify.
You see how she won't even let him get his answer out? Like, I don't know what it is with CNN. I don't know if they told Abby and Caitlin Collins and whoever else to make sure that they challenge as much as possible. They're trying to like fact check them on the spot. But specifically, they were asked and they basically said, well, we're not going to answer the question when this was asked in Congress. They said, we're not going to answer the question. They didn't say no. They didn't say yes. So with that, it's like somebody pleading the fifth. Would you not be led to believe that the answer is probably yes if somebody says, well, I'm just not going to answer the question? I mean, if somebody said like, hey, did you steal this thing? Did you cheat on this test? I don't know. Like, if somebody's like, I'm not going to answer that. Does that automatically mean a no? That doesn't make any sense. Usually if somebody's innocent of something or did not do something, just be like, no, what the heck are you talking about? So again, she's being totally disingenuous. She's saying, well, there's no actual definitive proof and evidences, and therefore you shouldn't even bring it up. Oh, you mean like the Russia and Trump collusion? No definitive proof and evidences that was harped on for years by people like Hillary Clinton, and you still got idiots like Bill Maher out here going off about this Russia-Trump collusion, saying that is real, when it's literally been proven to not be real. You got Adam Schiff censured for that, for peddling lies for years, and Democrats freaking out because they're saying that he shouldn't have been censured for this. I'm like, the double standard and hypocrisy here is outstanding. It's astounding. It's flabbergasting. It's dumbfounding.
I know this is an uncomfortable issue for many people, but we have to do the truth here.
I'm going to clarify my question because I want to make sure that you understand what I'm asking.
I understand this deeply. And I told you, I was with you 3 years ago. I'm not there now.
Where is the evidence?
Yes.
Where is the evidence that the government had a plot,
let's do this.
an inside job?
But no, I'm going to tell you what an inside job is, because I'm not
violence on January.
You see how, so she wants to, instead of the substance of what he's talking about, she wants to focus in on the fact that he mentioned it specifically as an inside job. And he's literally clarified, even though I haven't done videos on every single interview he's done, he's clarified this multiple times already, saying that it was entrapment. Inside job is the rhetoric he chose to use during the debate, which you would argue, technically, if you go down a whole rabbit hole in terms of what he's talking about, he's basically saying that he believes that the Democrat Party politicians in Congress, like Nancy Pelosi, for example, wanted this whole situation to play out the way that it did. So essentially egged it on further and enabled it to happen. So that doesn't mean orchestrated every single person in the crowd and every person in the Capitol Police and every single thing, but essentially played puppet master to enable certain things to happen and go a certain way. Like, for example, Nancy Pelosi didn't allow the National Guard to come in, and I've done whole videos about it, so I don't want nobody to argue with me about how Trump was supposed to do it. Trump did do it. Nancy Pelosi was in control of 3 different people, 3 different committees that was responsible for this and moving the National Guard, and she didn't do it, okay? Anyway, all right, I'm going to try to let this continue so we can see what all Vivek is talking about.
I'm not going to let you put words in my mouth. I'm going to put my words in my mouth. And I'm going to tell you what I mean by that.
Where is the evidence that the government was involved in planning or executing January 6th?
So I'm going to give you hard facts. And if I may, Abby, I know this is going to be a little uncomfortable, but we're going to go through this, and you can push back on it after that. And you can push back on that. And let's do this fairly. Why did they suppress footage of now what's been released, 200 hours of footage of shooting rubber bullets into that crowd, shooting tear gas into that crowd? You didn't see that before. You saw what the response was to that.
Facts.
Now you see footage coming out of actually rolling out the red carpet for Capitol Police allowing people in.
Again,
right through the front
door. The vast majority of
that
the footage
evidence should have been released before, Abby.
Mr. Ramaswamy, the vast majority of the footage shows police officers being overrun
and I want to talk about one more
by
case.
violent
this is really important.
riders. That's
I'm going to give you some hard facts.
What? So she's just lying through. She's lying through her teeth. She's saying so first off, the vast majority hasn't even been released. But the vast majority that has been released does not show the police being overwhelmed. It literally shows the crowd standing there. It's literally a protest. That's how protests work. People stand there and they talk. And the police literally started shooting at them, rubber bullets, shooting people in the face and throwing freaking tear gas. If you got a crowd that big, you just expect everybody to be a little P-word and just run away? They're going to get pissed. They were already agitated by the election results, and to egg that on, like, this lady is talking crazy.
What entrapment is?
Cherry pick.
I'm not cherry picking. If I may finish, Abby. If I may finish, Abby. I'm not cherry picking.
Examples.
To the contrary. To the contrary. You know who cherry picked examples? You know who cherry picked? The government.
That is what happened.
The government cherry picked 12 hours of footage when there was 200 hours of footage. So cherry picking was the government, not me. Release the whole thing. And let me just finish one thing too, because this is super important as a topic.
So
I think there's a civil libertarian issue of our time. Gretchen Whitmer's kidnapping. I want to be really clear on this, because it's the same issue in the same FBI, same even part of the FBI. 3 people who were in an alleged plot to kidnap Gretchen Whitmer were acquitted at the end of trial because it was entrapment. That is, government agents put them up to do something they otherwise wouldn't have done. They gave them credit cards with spending limits of up to $5,000, encouraged them to buy munitions, plan something they weren't otherwise willing to plan. So much so, and I want people at home to know this, especially CNN viewers to know this, is that one of the jurors went to those defendants and apologized afterwards, gave him a hug, apologized, seeing what the government had put a poor guy up to who had to go to some Mexican restaurant across the street to get hot water. These people were exploited with credit cards up to $5,000, FBI agents, putting them up to a kidnapping plot that we were told was true but was entrapment. Same thing with the Capitol Police. People letting them in freely. Many of those people then being charged.
Look,
the government cannot put you up to do something and then charge you for it. That's wrong.
I don't want to have
to. Wrong to the left, to the right.
I don't want to have to interrupt you. I really don't. But I don't want you to mislead the audience here or at home.
I'm not. I think they've been misled by the mainstream media.
What the hell? This is just so freaking silly, man. This lady should be ashamed of herself. Like, again, I've already done videos exposing Caitlin Collins. It might be time to go ahead and expose Abby Phillip. It might be time. I don't know. I mean, I haven't really seen much of her past, but there's a couple folks on CNN and really on MSNBC. I mean, I would say like pretty much all these liberal media networks, they have people who don't really believe in the stuff that they say, or maybe they believe like half of it and the other half they don't. I'm not exactly sure, but basically they get exposed sometimes. Like I said, Caitlin Collins. 1 second, she was talking to, I don't know if it was Tucker Carlson or somebody on Fox saying one thing totally different. And then 2 years later, all of a sudden she's on CNN shilling. Okay? Shilling. You know, this is kind of what I mean. And Abby's kind of making a fool of herself. I might have some clips in here. I'm not sure if I'm going to put clips in this video because I don't want to, like, every single time this topic comes up, have to post the damn clips. I might put a small snippet. I don't know if it's already in here before or after I speak, but I kind of feel like you have to because these messages got to be pushed over and over again because otherwise CNN and Abby Phillip and Caitlin Collins and whoever the heck else is going to literally lie to your face and say, well, the vast majority of the footage was this violent protest. Literally a police officer from the Capitol said that the majority of people there were not violent. So how, if the majority of people weren't violent, how's the majority of the footage violence? That doesn't make any sense. Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, I don't even want to talk about this no more, man. It's like, it gets nauseating and infuriating to see that they're determined to demonize people that, for all intents and purposes, were just trying to protest, and they're being punished for years and years and years. Most of the people didn't even do anything violent. Most of the people didn't have any weapons. They're just prancing around the Capitol in, boom, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years in prison. Held without bail. Crazy stuff, man. Anyway, I'm done with these people. Drop a like on the video if you enjoyed. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. I appreciate y'all watching the Black Anomaly Rising channel. I'm out.
We get hit with a lot of pain compliance. We get hit